The concept of divine judgment is one of the central themes in the Bible, encompassing a range of ideas about morality, righteousness, and accountability under the sovereignty of God. Across both the Old and New Testament, the notion of God's judgment is intricately woven into the narrative, serving as both a heavenly adjudication and a means of providing ethical guidance to believers. In the Old Testament, God's judgment is often portrayed as a direct response to the behavior of individuals or nations, serving as a tool for correction rather than merely punitive measures. This aspect is illustrated in the story of Noah's Ark in Genesis, where divine judgment takes the form of a deluge, cleansing a world rife with human corruption and sin, yet promising renewal through the covenant with Noah. Moreover, in the books of prophets, such as Isaiah and Jeremiah, God's judgment is depicted as imminent yet just, a consequence of social injustices and idolatry. Such instances emphasize the notion that divine judgment acts in accordance with God's righteousness and serves to restore the moral order of creation. In the New Testament, the theme of judgment is synthesized in the teachings of Jesus Christ, who expounds on the idea through parables and sermons. One clear reference to God's judgment is found in the Gospel according to Matthew. The parable of the sheep and the goats, Matthew 25 verses 31 to 46, encapsulates the final judgment, with an emphasis on moral discernment based on compassion and acts of mercy towards others. Here, Jesus elucidates that divine judgment is tied to actions reflecting a deeper love for God and humanity. Furthermore, the book of Revelation presents a vivid apocalyptic vision, underscoring the ultimate judgment at the end of time. The vivid imagery of seals, trumpets, and bowls symbolizes the comprehensive nature of God's judgment, culminating in the establishment of a new heaven and a new earth, offering hope and redemption. Theologically, God's judgment in the Bible is inextricably linked with his attributes of justice, love, and mercy. Not only does it serve as a deterrent against sin and an assurance of divine oversight, but also affirms the eventual triumph of good over evil. This dual nature of judgment, as judgment and salvation, invites believers to live righteously, with the understanding that every action is weighed with eternal significance. Ultimately, the biblical account of God's judgment encourages moral accountability, while also offering comfort and hope through the promise of renewal and grace for those who adhere to divine teachings. This intricate interpretation of divine judgment invites a deeper reflection on how righteousness, as illustrated in the Scriptures, fundamentally shapes human destiny under the omniscience of God.